Okay, my name is Kristen Appleton, and this is Dancing Health Nut. A little bit about me. I was a competitive gymnast growing up and did that for 10 years competitively. And I started when I was 4 years old, ended when I was roughly 16. And ultimately, even though I love gymnastics, my dream still as a child was to be a professional dancer and choreographer when I grew up. Um, but that didn't really happen. I ended up having my son at 20 and my life just took a different turn. So I always loved health and fitness. My dad used to be in the bodybuilding world and then now he's a judge. And I grew up around that lifestyle. So I decided at 16 to do my first fitness competition. And really, I just had so much time when I quit gymnastics. I was going like 5 days a week for 4 hours a day, sometimes a little bit longer. That when I quit, I thought, okay, what am I going to do with my time now? So I got into fitness competitions. I ran track. I tried horseback riding for a little while, cheerleading, and um, ultimately went down the path of, I loved physical activity. I loved staying strong and capable. So those things all just kind of seemed like a good idea. And yeah, I started fitness competitions at the age of 16, which is pretty young, but I liked the routine aspect of it because you got to do a little bit of dancing along with different strengths and skills. So the only thing I didn't like about that is the dieting was very, very strict and very limited. So that was a difficult part of that. And this is kind of important because it takes me to something a little bit later in my life where I learned some different techniques and strategies for staying healthy that didn't include starving yourself. Um, but then I ended up, like I said, having my son. Life took a different journey. And then I met my wonderful husband at the age of 26. Um, then we actually officially started dating, I think on my 27th birthday. And I still didn't pick dance up yet, even though I still wanted to. It was always deep in my heart. I loved it. And we ended up having our daughter when I was 30. And I would say about when I was maybe around 34, I believe, I started looking into trying to get into salsa. And um, I remember I've always loved Latin music, first of all. Honestly, as far back as I can remember, I've always loved Latin dancing, Latin music. I've just always loved it. I think for at least, I don't know, 12 years now, my radio station on Sirius XM, at least for 10 or 12 years, I always listen to Latin stations. It's like 90% of what I listen to. I just love it. So I wanted to get into salsa and I would go and I would look at different studios and I would go and I would think, yeah, okay, I like this, I like that. And then I would go and try to find another one. And, there was things I liked about it, things I didn't. And then finally I went to Salsa on the Square in Cincinnati. And I saw some people dancing and I thought, oh, I really love the way that they dance. So I asked where they danced and they said Cincinnati. And I think I went that very next week to the first set of classes they had and I signed up. And then I danced with them, I think for about 2 years, I think. Um, and that was a great experience. Was a wonderful company, still is. They still teach, great instructors, great classes, great environment. And they help you learn very quickly and very accurately from the beginning. So it's a really great studio. Then I found myself, let's see, I was 35. Yeah, I guess about 34, 35. Anyway, I was dancing all the time, still staying in great shape, but I did have my daughter at 30. And I noticed around 34, 35 that for whatever reason, even if I tried to eat really healthy, and I've always been, pretty much on the smaller side. I'm a petite person. I'm only 5 foot. So I've always been petite, but for some reason, I just kept gaining weight. And it didn't matter what I did. I mean, even if I would try to have like a cheat meal and I would be so strict throughout the week, I just kept gaining weight. And I couldn't figure it out. And it was very stressful. It was exhausting because I just felt like I was killing myself at the gym. I joined like Orange Theory Fitness. I just kept adding more exercise, trying to eat even better, even better. Um, and nothing was working. And it was weird because I've always had a decent metabolism. So finally, I couldn't take it anymore. And actually, what I want to do at some point is pull up some before and afters. So I finally reached out to my cousin and her company with her ex-husband, and I reached out to them because I they had at the time they would post testimonial after testimonial after testimonial, and they talk all about hormone balance, autoimmune disorders, inflammation, gut health, just so many things that at the time to me made sense. So I went and I had my blood work done, and it came back. I was really estrogen dominant, and my progesterone was very low, and my testosterone was very low. So right away, they put me on some supplements to kind of help my own body regulate its own hormones. And I would say after 2 or 3 months, everything just started falling off. I didn't have to kill myself. Oh, and that's another thing. They said to stop working out so much. I really needed to reset my body and kind of recover. And then we added another supplement, I believe, for my thyroid and some other supplements for glucose disposal. And honestly, it changed everything. I was sleeping better. I started taking a supplement to catabolize cortisol while you sleep. I still take that today. I swear by it. It's amazing. But basically, it just really opened my eyes to the importance of the food that we put in our body, making sure we're getting the proper nutrition so our bodies can maintain a healthy hormonal balance, which is really important, especially for women. Um, and it just kind of opened my eyes to alternative ways of eating versus the way, I had learned when I was 16, which is basically fish and asparagus 6 times a day. And that also led me, now I'm 40, and now I would say the last 2.5 years, I've really been into intermittent fasting and the benefits of that, which are also very beneficial. So just a lot of trial and error things that I learned and things that really I feel like make the just such a big difference and are so much easier than just like killing yourself at the gym or killing yourself with your diet. It doesn't have to be that way. So that's part of the health nut. And then also to, mental health. I love to read. I love to listen to audiobooks, and I've really committed the last 3 years to trying to really commit to not just my physical health, but my mental health as well. And then last but not least, um, kind of other things the channel is about is also finding your passion and committing to it and just doing what you love. It's never too late. You're never too old. I didn't even start dancing until I was, I think I was 30. I honestly don't know, but I want to say I think I was 34. I'm not sure. It doesn't matter. Um, but it's it's never too late to start. And fast forward now, I'm 40, and I've met some really incredible dancers along the way. And also, I think during the pandemic, I believe I wrote a couple novels. Um, but it inspired me to kind of full circle fulfill my dream. I started as a gymnast, which I loved. It gave me that competitive edge. It taught me um, discipline, hard work, commitment. And then I still always had that love and desire for dance. I always had that passion for dance and for choreography, really. And, even though things happened along the way in my life, it's kind of like full circle. Here I am I wrote this show, putting on a show. So I wrote, directed, produced, and am performing in a show that's happening in Tampa, May 31st, called A Time for Love. And, my journey of moving different places, getting to connect with different dancers, and, you know, being able to have those connections to put together a full show of actors, jazz singer, Latin dancer, a pole artist, an aerial artist, acrobatics, Brazilian zouk dancer, and and actors and drag all in one show is really pretty cool. Another thing too in my dancing, which also is kind of full circle, that if I didn't have all the health and wellness and um, information and things that I know to keep me in the shape that I need to be in to be doing these things, that would also be difficult. So it is kind of a full circle journey, if you will. And here is my um, Twitter page. And this kind of shows you a little bit, some graphics about the Time for Love, which is what it's called. It is about an inventor who is a brilliant man. And even though he has all of these successes and he has done so many great things, at the end of the day, he finds himself so lonely because really all that he ultimately wants is his one true love. So he decides to send his assistant, Winston, around the world and through different eras to bring back 7 of the most talented performers to perform for his heart. And each performer possesses a different skill, a different talent, but also different personality traits. So each performer is a character, and each character has something different to offer Horatio. And at the end, he ultimately has to choose. So what's cool is that it's really all encompassing. So the performances aren't random. The performers and the character and the performance is a part of the storyline. And there's even drag in this show too, which I really wanted to have that as well. Drag is something that kind of gets left out sometimes. It's not really included as part of a theatrical production, but I really wanted this to be all encompassing. I wanted this to have so many different art forms, and I wanted the music to be powerful, and I wanted the light show to be intense. And I really believe that when people see this show and when, after it's all over, I think it's going to be a magical night for everyone for sure. So ultimately, the channel is going to be about health, wellness, passions, mental health, dancing, fitness, relationships. And I feel like I've learned quite a bit along the way, and it's all about what helped me. There's so many things that I've had to work on, accomplish, and everything that I've done has helped me immensely. It's made my life easier, better, not such a struggle. So ultimately, if I'm here to share that with you, that's excellent.